everybody. Welcome to our latest edition of Science Bytes with me, Miss Nicole from Bloomfield Public Library. And today we're going to work on a really cool project called a thaumatrope. And a thaumatrope is a way to do some very simple animation. And some examples of animation would be movies we've seen, like Disney movies, cartoons, video games even have animation in them. But long before we had the help of computers to make animation, people were making animated toys and gadgets by hand with drawn images, and we're going to do a version of that kind of project today. But how are we able to take still images and make our eyes see something that looks like it's moving and in motion? One of the key things that happens when our eyes are turning still images into moving images is something called persistence of vision. And with persistence of vision, we see a still image, and for an extra second or so, that image is held in the retina of our eyes. An impression of it is held in the retina of our eyes. And if we see another still image quickly enough after that, our eyes sort of fill in the gaps and merge those two images together so they look like one image. And if you have enough of those images strung along together, we actually can create something that appears to be motion. Thaumatropes were created in the early 1800s, around the 1820s. And I'm going to say for about 100 years, until the 1920s or so, they were the main form of animation that anybody brought into their homes. And a thaumatrope is a very simple thing. All we're going to do is take two separate images, and we're going to put them on opposite sides of either some strings or a straw. And if we add some motion, because of that persistence of vision, it's going to look like one combined image. Now, we are going to make our thaumatrope in two ways. We're going to do it in the classic way with string, but we're also going to do it using a straw. And we'll also show you how you can create and design your own thaumatropes. Now, to make our thaumatrope, you'll just need a few simple things from home. You'll need some scissors to cut these out. You'll need some tape or glue, whichever you prefer using, and some string. So the first step is to cut out these circles, and you want to be as tidy as possible. We are going to want one of our images to be upside down. Doesn't matter which one, you just want them both to be in opposite directions. Now we are actually going to take a sharpened pencil, or if you have a three-hole punch or a hole punch at home, that's even better. But you can use a sharpened pencil, and where we have these holes, you are going to punch your pencil through. You want to go maybe just right in front of where the hole is and punch your pencil in like that. Make a nice good sized hole, just like that. I have two randomly cut lengths of string here. It doesn't matter if the strings are even, but you do want it to be a good length because you're going to end up sort of folding it in half when you push it through the disc. So I'm going to take my first disc here and push the string through. If you're having trouble, you can poke it through with your pencil, and that will work too. If my horse is facing this direction, I want to make sure my rider will be facing up. So I'm going to take this image and flip it this way and line up my two holes, and now feed the string through the second hole. Just like that. And now you can see how I've got the two discs like this. I'm just going to do a simple tie and then a second tie for a simple knot. So like this for one. You don't have to make it really tight, just enough to hold it together. And a second one. There. So now I've got a simple knot here. My rider is upright this way and the horse is upside down that way. And now we have to do the same thing on the other side, but first you might want to put one or two pieces of tape on the inside just to hold these two discs together really well. And before you smush them together, make sure the other two holes are going to line up, like so. And now we are ready to put the string on the other side. And you might be able to just force it through with your pencil and go through both discs at once. That would make it nice and simple. So here I am. I'm just gonna force it through. You can see how I'm forcing it through with my pencil. And like that. And now if you find your string is really long like mine is, you can actually trim it a little. You do want some length on it. But something like this is plenty long. And now, of course, the best part is actually seeing your thaumatrope in action. So if we start with our rider upright on this side, and we start to twist these strings between our fingers, we will see that it looks like he is riding his horse. And that's a very simple animation called a thaumatrope. But now, let me show you an alternate way to make a thaumatrope using a drinking straw. Now, for the straw method, we just need a few simple supplies. You do need a drinking straw, and I did include some in your kits that you can pick up from the library. You'll need your scissors again, and also some tape. Again, you can use some glue if you'd rather use glue, but you will have to give it time to dry if you wanted to use glue. Now, I have some additional examples of thaumatropes that I included in your kits, and you'll see that they're actually joined in the center. This is so that if you wanted to just fold them and use the string method, you can see they made tiny little marks where you know where to poke for your string. You can do that with these and just fold them. Or if you want to do the straw method, we are going to want to cut that right along that line and create two separate pieces. So just like that. So we've got two separate pieces. Now here is the big difference with the straw method. You want to have both of the images facing up. So if we had, for example, a bird and a bird cage, you would want both of them pointing the normal way, facing up. We aren't going to do them the opposite direction this time, because instead of spinning like this, we are actually going to be spinning like this, which keeps them both face up. So now that we've got our two separate images, this is very simple. Let's flip the front of the cat over, and I've got my straw here, and I'm just going to tape that straw in place first. And it's okay if you flatten the straw a little bit in the process of doing that. That's all right. And we are going to attach, now remember, we're not flipping it, we're keeping them the same direction. We are going to attach this one right on top of the straw to the back. So the straw is in the middle. I'm actually gonna put some extra tape. Now, if you are using regular tape, I'm using double-sided tape. If you're using regular tape, just make sure, I'm gonna cut off that little bit. Just make sure that you are doing little tape rolls so it will stick. And so I'm going to take this, line it up nicely. You wanna be as even as possible. And I'm going to put that in place, just like that. So for this version of the thaumatrope, again, we're not twisting like this and moving the image like this. We're actually gonna roll the straw in between our hands. So here we have our cat face on one side and the whiskers on the other. And now, if I roll this between my fingers, it looks like our cat has whiskers, and it's one image. Our eyes are filling in the blanks thanks to that persistence of vision, and it's seeing it as one image. Now there is one more version of the thaumatrope that I'll show you, and that's a version that you create yourself. Now this could be a little tricky because you have to sort of plan how you're going to do your image, and you have to pick something that's very simple. Because as you've seen with our other thaumatropes, you want to create essentially two images that are going to merge. So in the case of the cat, they had the cat face, and then they had whiskers. In the case of the bird in the cage, we have a cage and we have a bird. So you want to think of a simple kind of picture you can draw. Maybe it's a butterfly sitting on top of a flower, Or I was thinking I might do a rainbow going into a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Now for this one, like I said, you're going to want to do a little bit of planning for your image. So I'm going to take one of these examples, one of these template circles, and just using a pencil on a regular piece of paper, I'm going to draw this circle just so I have the right shape. And now I'm going to plan my very simple picture. So I'm going to have two parts to my thaumatrope. I'm going to have the rainbow and the pot of gold. Just those two parts. Those are going to be my two separate images. So first I'm going to figure out what the whole picture looks like. And then I'm going to spread it out onto the two discs. So I think I'm going to have my pot of gold, and just to keep it simple, I'm going to put it in the center. So if I make a little dot so I know where the top and bottom of my disc is, I'm going to have my pot of gold, and I'm just doing a little rough picture here, right in the center. And maybe there's some coins in here. Maybe I'll make those with yellow. And I'm going to then have my rainbow coming in like this. Let's see, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, purple. So that's I'm gonna have it very simple. The trickiest part for me is just going to know when to cut off the rainbow so that it ends up merging into our pot of gold. So now I've got my two discs here. I'm gonna move this image a little off to the side. I'm gonna use these holes to help me figure out top and bottom. They're gonna help me line things up. And so at the bottom of this one, I'm going to draw it in pencil first. I'm going to do my pot of gold. Maybe I'll make it a little smaller. And now I'm going to have my rainbow coming in, but I'm going to actually put the rainbow on the second circle. So I want to make sure with my pencil, I've got these side by side, perfectly side by side. I want to make sure that I know where the rainbow has to cut off. So I'm drawing a very faint line right there that I can remove. And I might now add just a few little yellow coins here. So now the biggest problem I can see is that maybe my rainbow is actually wider than my pot. It'll be close, but now we're going to do just what we did before with the straw. Now for the real test. I've got my pot of gold and I got my rainbow, and now we're going to see how well I did in terms of lining it up and see how well it goes. Ready? I think that's pretty good. It looks like the rainbow is going into the pot. So now you see how you can also design your own thaumatropes. And that, my friends, was our project today, the thaumatrope. You just learned how to make one of the most popular animation toys of the 19th and 20th centuries. Isn't that amazing? I hope you enjoyed the project. Remember, you can pick up supplies at both of our Bloomfield Public Library locations, the Prosser Library and the McMahon-Wintonberry Library. I'll have some sample thaumatropes in there for you to cut out, some strings, some straws, and some templates so you can make your own as well. And I look forward to our next edition of the Science Bytes with you all. So this is our last one for the year 2021, so I will see you in 2022. Bye, everybody.